Hello there, this is Amy from MFM, and I'm going to talk about adding and subtracting integers using algebra tiles and also using a number line. We're going to start off with using the algebra tiles, and I'm using virtual algebra tiles within brainingcamp.com. You should check them out if you haven't already. The first problem that we are going to solve is 4 plus -3. Go ahead and model this problem for you. Okay, and before we get started solving 4 plus -3, I'm going to review something that's very important with adding and subtracting integers, and that are zero pairs. So you may have heard of zero pairs before, but what a zero pair is a pair of numbers that when added together equals 0. Oops, I actually made a mistake in my typing. That when added together equals 0. Okay, move some stuff around over here. So let me give you an example of a zero pair. So here with the algebra tiles, the yellow tiles represent positive numbers, and this red tile right here represents a negative number. So right here we have a positive 1, and the red is a negative 1. So if I join this positive 1 and this negative 1 together, let me erase and write a little bit smaller. So positive 1 plus this negative 1, they actually cancel each other out and equal 0. And I'll show you that if I place the 1 on top of the negative 1, it goes away. It equals 0. I'll show you that again. You can even do the reverse order. This negative 1 on top of the positive 1 goes away. This is my favorite feature of these virtual algebra tiles, is that your students can actually see that it equals 0 and it disappears, goes away. An example of this zero pair, and this can be also, so I did an example of 1 plus -1, but you can also have 2 plus -2, and this will also equal 0. 3 plus -3, any number and it's negative when added together are going to equal 0. I'll demonstrate here. Equals 0, equals 0. So a situation that we can model after 1 plus -1 is, let's say you have $1 and then you spend $1 at the store, being your negative dollar, and now you have $0 left, or 0. Okay, so first, when solving 4 plus -3, we need to build the number 4 with our algebra tiles. So this amount right here represents 4. And since we're adding, we're going to go ahead and add the quantity -3. 1, 2, 3. So we're joining or combining these two quantities. And in order to solve this, I'm going to create some zero pairs. There we go. And the remainder that I have left is my answer. 4 plus -3 equals +1. Okay, and let me go ahead and model another problem for you. We'll start with the adding. So next up, I'm going to add -7 plus -2. So I'm going to go ahead and build -7. And I'm going to combine -2. Now, I can't make any zero pairs because I have no positive numbers. So when I combine this -7 with this -2, if I join them together, I have -9. Anytime you add two negatives, you will still have a negative number. So let's say that you owed your mom $7 and you owed your grandma $2. Altogether, you would be owing $9. Okay, and let me erase this one and I'll demonstrate another problem. Next up, -6 plus +4. I'm going to go ahead and build -6. And I'm going to combine -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I have -6. And I'm going to be combining or adding to it this +4. So I'm going to go ahead and looks like now I can create zero pairs since I have some positives and negatives. My zero pairs are going to equal 0. And the quantity or the amount that I have left is my answer. So I have -2 left after adding -6 plus +4. Move this up here, and this is my answer, -2. So that's adding integers using algebra tiles. I also want to demonstrate those exact same problems, but using a number line. So we're going to start off with adding integers. And our first problem that we solved earlier is 4 plus -3. And just a reminder that when you are writing with a negative number, if it's right up next to the sign, such as the addition sign, you do want to put a parentheses around your -3. If I don't, this is what it will look like. And it ends up looking like an addition sign and a subtraction sign. It's a little confusing. So you just add a parentheses there. All right. Okay. So for this problem, I'm going to take this circle just to demonstrate so I can show you that I'm actually moving. Now at home, if you have a number line that's similar to this, you can put your finger on the number and you can move as you go, or you could print off a number line and do something similar. So +4. So I have negative numbers over here on the left that are red, and I have positive numbers here on the right that are black. So I'm going to start here on +4. Now I want to add -3. So that means I want to go in the negative direction since I'm adding -3. And this problem tells me I want to go 3 spots in the negative direction. So here I go. 1, 2, 3, and I am ending at +1. So +4 plus a -3 equals +1. Okay, so that was our first problem that we had. And now I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the second problem, which was -7 plus -2. -7 plus negative, oops, negative, oh, I can't type, equals, okay. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to grab this circle, and I'm going to start at -7, which is right here. Now I'm adding -2 to -7, so I am going to be moving in the negative direction, 2 spots, 1, 2. So as you can see, -7 plus -2 equals -9. Anytime you have 2 negatives and you're adding them together, you will still have a negative number for your answer. Okay, and the last problem I demonstrated with the algebra tiles that I'll go ahead and demonstrate here with the number line, -6 plus +4. So for this problem, I'm starting on my number line at -6. And since I'm adding +4, I want to move in the positive direction 4 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm ending at -2. So -6 plus a +4 equals -2. And that is the demonstration for adding integers. And next, I want to show you subtracting integers. And I'm actually going to start with this number line with subtracting. I think the number line is a little easier to conceptualize than the algebra tiles for subtracting. I will show you the algebra tiles for subtracting as well. I just personally prefer the number line for subtracting as far as picturing what's happening. So let's go to a new page here. Okay, so my first problem I'm going to demonstrate is -3 minus 1. And I'm actually going to go back and make a copy of this little circle I have here so I can use it on this page. Okay, so I'm going to put this where my first number is, -3. -3 is right here. Now, this time I'm subtracting. So you can imagine that you're wanting to run away from the number that you're subtracting. You're trying to go away from it. You're taking it away or you're subtracting. So right here, I'm subtracting a +1. So what this means is I want to go away from the positive side. I want to get away from that +1. So I want to head towards the negatives. So if I'm right here at -3, again, I want to go away from the positives and I want to go one spot away. So I'm going, make a little arrow here. I'm going this direction and the negative direction. So I began at -3 and I went one spot to the left towards the negatives, away from the positives. So I ended at -4. So -3 minus 1 equals -4. Now let me show you what that looks like with the algebra tiles before I move on to the next problem. -3 minus 1. So let me erase some things here. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to build -3 and use these red algebra tiles. They represent negative numbers. So 1, 2, 3. Now, as you could see, if I want to subtract 1, if I'm subtracting a +1, I don't have any +1s here to take away from -3. So I need to build a +1. But I don't want to change this quantity at all. I want it to still be -3. So in order to still have this number equal -3 and not change it at all, but be able to take away a +1, I need to create one of these zero pairs. So what I want to do is I want to create a zero pair, and the zero pair that I want to create is this 1 right here so that I can subtract the 1. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to grab a +1 and a -1. Now this +1 and this -1, they do actually create a zero pair. They cancel each other out. They equal 0. So I'm actually not changing the quantity of -3. I'm not adding anything. I'm not taking away. I'm just building a zero pair so that I could go in and I could take away this +1 right here. And now I join it with my -3, and this is my answer. -3 minus 1 is -4. And up here, this is what I got on the number line as well. Okay, so -3 minus 1 is -4. Now let me show you a second problem. I'll go back to the number line, and then I'll go back to the algebra tiles. Okay, let me go ahead and copy this title. And I'll also go ahead and copy the circle. So I like to be able to use it so I can show it's actually moving. So the second problem that I'm going to demonstrate is 5 minus -2. Okay, so I'm going to start over here at the +5. Here's my +5 right here. So since I'm taking away -2, it's like I'm running and I want to get away from this -2 right here. I don't want to go in the negative direction. I want to take away negative. So I want to run in the positive direction. I want to go to the right, this direction right here. And since I'm taking away -2, or I'm going farther towards the positives, 2 spots, starting here. So 1, 2. I'm ending at +7. So 5 minus -2 equals a +7. Let me demonstrate that with the algebra tiles. Okay, my problem, I'll type here, is 5 minus -2 All right, I'm starting with +5. And now I want to take away -2, but I don't have any negative numbers in this +5. So I want to go and create some 0 pairs. And I want to create 2 0 pairs because I have -2. Let me erase this. Okay, so I'm going to create 1 0 pair and another 0 pair. So remember, this quantity right here, this equals 0. So I'm not changing the 5 at all. I'm actually just building this quantity so I'm able to subtract -2 or take away -2. So this would be taking away 1 negative, and this would be taking away 2 negatives. Now this is my answer right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 5 minus -2 is +7. We go back to my number line. 5 minus -2 is +7. So that's demonstrating adding and subtracting integers with a number line and also with algebra tiles. I hoped that helped you to conceptualize what is going on when you are adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. Hope to see you soon.